Alright, here's one I'm sure you guys have been waiting for. The old Logan Paul story. So, about 6 months before the old suicide forest incident with our boy Logan, somebody hit me up to do a video. I don't know who it's for. They just said it's for a YouTuber. By the time we solidified the price, I was like, who is it anyway? And they mentioned it was Logan Paul. And I was like, I think I've heard of that guy. I've seen him before. Well, I spent the day with him, and I was like, man, this guy is famous, you know? Everywhere we went, every stoplight, every store, somebody recognized him. This is a while back, right? So it's pretty crazy. Anyways, the first thing that happened was I met this girl, Lydia, who was, 4'11", and she asked me for the keys so she could drive the ice cream truck over to Logan's condo. And I said, no, we're not doing that. So I went ahead and drove the ice cream truck over to Logan's condo. They called him. He came down with his boy, Evan, and we all hopped in the truck, and the plan was to sell merch outside of his condo. Well, quickly he decided that it would be better to give the merch away. So there are 75 people waiting outside his condo complex, and all of those people went crazy. He had like a t-shirt gun. He shot in the air. And people like slammed up against the truck. That wasn't super fun for me. Somebody threw a plate. I don't know if you remember, but Logan Paul liked to break plates. He would throw plates on the ground all the time. And so that was kind of his shtick. Somebody had like a porcelain plate, and they threw it into my window. And I didn't really care because I knew that they would compensate me. So that was crazy. That was insane. Whatever. After they broke the window, we went to a store, got some duct taped the thing all up. Sebastian, his videographer, cut his knee, so they got some first aid stuff for his knee, patched that up, and that was that. Then the plan was to go to Jake's house, right? So we pull up to Jake's house. Well, Jake's house is, partitioned off for blocks and blocks because you're not allowed to, park there, right? Because they don't want people stalking Jake and just like waiting outside his house. So instead of letting people park and stalk him, people have to park blocks and blocks away, and then they're able to still stalk him. So they do that, they still stalk him, and then we go and stop. Once we stop, alright, I know people are going to complain that I'm got salmonella on that towel. I know you guys are watching. Don't criticize me on the way I cut my mushrooms. Or do, I don't fucking care. Anyway, so we decide to, I barely stopped, and they're like, shot my license plate, and that means I got a parking ticket. So we pause for a second, and Logan decides to throw a t-shirt into the crowd of Jake Paul's fans, and then all hell broke loose, and they threw a bunch of eggs at my truck, which I thought was pretty funny. But at the same time, I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm out of here. And so I took off. I just, drove away. And the funniest part was, then they chase after me and I'll jump inside the truck. The funniest part was Sebastian's camera was dead. So the only footage they got was Logan's camera. So we hardly even got any footage. The other thing that was weird was they if you want, you can watch both videos. You can watch Logan's video, because at this point they did a video every day. Logan did a video every day, a vlog, and Jake did a vlog every day. And if you watch Jake's vlog, they had paintball guns, and they were getting ready to paintball my truck. So I think that was all theater, because they knew better than to shoot paintballs at the truck. So I was glad for that. The other thing that was funny was the neighbors called the police because they heard gunshots. Gunshots were going off, and those were just the eggs being thrown, apparently. Not gunshots at all, but I think the neighbors were just tired of Jake's shit, and they would basically do anything to complain about him. Follow for part 2. There's one more thing I wanted to mention. I don't know. I lost it. Follow for part 2. Thanks for watching. Alright, part 2 goes like this. Jake Paul, Logan Paul story. So we leave Logan's, and basically we go back to this parking lot where his gym was, and when we get to the parking lot, I have a parking ticket, I got a broken window, a bunch of eggs have been thrown at my truck. I'm not gonna take the money that we initially agreed upon, right? So instead, basically they tripled what they were supposed to pay me, which I thought was fair, or Logan did. I'm sure he got in trouble with his management team later, but it is what it is. So that happened. So that was cool, whatever. I actually ended up getting my check the same day that I got my parking ticket. Texted Logan, and he thought that was funny. For a little bit there, I had his phone number, and he would respond to my text, which I thought was kind of funny. But anyways, simple little dish, right? Mushrooms, chicken, spaghetti. I'm gonna make some garlic and butter. Garlic butter noodles with mushrooms. Add in the chicken. Delicious. One thing you could do is like broccoli. Make yourself a little side salad too, something like that. The key is, obviously, lots of butter. Anyways, so later, about a year and a half later, what I thought was cool about those Logan Paul videos is Jake and Logan would shoot all day, and then they would send the videos to England. So as they were finishing up and about to go to bed, these dudes in England were waking up, and they would get the video, and they would edit it, right? So they were editing the video while Logan and Jake were sleeping. Those guys were the fastest ever. I think Logan ended up winning. Fastest ever to 10 million subscribers on YouTube. And I watched Logan for a day. I could not even think about keeping up that amount of energy for more than like a week or two. So, you know, say what you will about the Paul brothers. I know what you want to say about them, but they did do that. So about a year and a half later, I got an email from mini Jake Paul, this kid Titus, well, his parents actually, and they wanted to rent the truck for a music video for Titus, because he made these little music videos. This particular one was about ice cream. I thought it was a good idea if we kind of tapped into my logo. So we used the same colors, we used the same type of logo, except we put Titus instead of Ian. So I thought that was kind of neat. So we ended up having those logos on the truck. in the video. So if you watch it, it's very like it's like a throw. It's like it harkens to my logo, which is pretty cool. They give me this address in Calabasas to go to. I didn't really know Jay. I don't keep up with those guys. I did watch their videos for a week or two after I did the shoot the year before. I followed the whole suicide forest thing a little bit. That was on like national news. If you don't know what I mean, you can look it up. But I go to Calabasas, and when I get there, I'm like, oh, this is Jake's house. You know, somebody told me pretty quickly. I ended up talking to some people who were actually there when when the whole thing went down with Jake at his house. One guy actually got his car hit with eggs in, you know, the crossfire, and his paint job was kind of messed up. And they ended up, Jake ended up paying for a wrap, so he got like a full wrap out of the gig, which, if you know, that's like $4,000 or $5,000 probably. Man, I'm out of this stuff. I know I'm not supposed to use this, but I think it's fine. It's fine. And so that was funny. Those guys laughed. I still like keep in contact with this dude, Azadi, who has a graffiti mansion in Vegas. Anyways, so we start shooting. They shoot with Titus. Everything's going all right, and we're waiting for Jake. Finally, about 3-4 o'clock, Jake decides to finally wake up, and he comes down, and I think I was the first person to talk to him, right? And I was like, what's up, Jake? Remember me? And he's like, I've never met you before. And I was like, yeah, I remember you guys threw a bunch of fucking eggs at my truck? And then he just sort of ran away. Which I thought was funny because that guy is always punking everybody else. So for me to like punk him a little bit made me laugh. I don't know if this is gross, but I made it to be more garlicky. Anyways, so then we shot. I kind of showed Jake how to drive the truck, which was all fine. He didn't trip on me after that. It was cool. And that's pretty much. When I was at Jake's house, I shot a picture of the truck next to Jake's Lamborghini and sent it to Logan, but he did not reply to that. I was like, look where I am. I don't think he cared. But there's that. I'll send you a picture when I'm done, right? That just goes in there. And then we mix it all up. All right. See you next time. I actually I meant to put the mushrooms in there and the chicken in here, but it's hard to concentrate when you're telling a story. Two things at once. I can't rub my belly and pat my head or walk and chew bubble gum at the same time either. But mushrooms go in there, right? Chicken goes in there. You can tear it apart, you can cut it up into little pieces, I don't know. Doesn't matter, I just tear it up if I eat it. Simple, trying to keep it simple, basic, right? That's the key. Now we just kind of scoop it a doop. Mix it all up. There it is. That's what it looks like.